A few days ago, we were celebrating New Year. And what comes with the New Year are new resolutions. We are eager to make a list, things that we're going to do, things that we're going to stick to, and then we hang it on a fridge, and it hangs there for a few. We look at it in February, in March, and it's still there. There is something about January, something that we want to do something about ourselves. I want to become a new me. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to gain 15 pounds of muscles. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to reduce the alcohol intake. All those beautiful, beautiful things that we want to do in January. But as we know, January won't do it on its own. It's up to us if it's actually going to happen. We need a motivation to do it. We need an encouragement to do it. We need somebody to actually remind us about it, maybe even every single day. When somebody comes up to me and says, I'm going to sign up for a gym and I'm going to lose 25 pounds, I start asking questions. Which gym you're going to go to? What days of the week? What time? And what are you going to sacrifice in order to pay $30, $40 for your membership? What are you going to reduce from your budget to pay for it? You see, in order to do something, we need some sort of epiphany, some sort of sign, a person in our lives to motivate us to do it. What I mean by epiphany, it doesn't have to be something difficult. It doesn't have to be something that you have to search for. It takes one person, maybe one event, for the epiphany to happen. From my personal life, I think of two epiphanies. The first one took place in the year 2000 when I went to Auschwitz to visit the camp. It changed my whole perspective on life, on death, on human relationships, on hate, on love, race, religion. Everything changed in this one little visit. It was one of my epiphanies when I started loving people more, loving people for who they were and not what religion they were or what color they were. My second epiphany was very recent. About 3 years ago, I was sitting at the bar with my friend, drinking a beer, and he looked at me and he says, "What the hell are you doing here? Why are you wasting your life sitting here at the bar?" It took one little sentence for me not to only stop going to the bar, but it was my last day I actually drank some alcohol. Little epiphanies like that, that's what I mean. I know for some couples, a little epiphany was Luca. They had to change their entire lives. When Luca came to the picture, everything stopped for them what was their own so far, and they had to change their entire life. Now the whole world evolves around him. The whole family system changed. You became parents. This young couple behind them and the young couple next to them became grandparents and great-grandparents. Everything changed with this little epiphany. Their perspective on life, on career, who they're going to be, what they're going to do, how they're going to support the family. Little epiphanies like that. And I'm sure all of you had your own little epiphanies. This is who you are so far. This is what happened to you, and this is who you became, or who you're going to be, or who you want to be. Imagine those 3 wise men that we are celebrating today. As we know from tradition, there could be as many as 12 of them. Simply, the church gives us the names of 3 wise men who were on the go to search for knowledge, for wisdom. They were searching for the light of light, God of guide, whatever you want to call it. They were searching for something that they didn't know yet. And they were prepared. They were traveling all the way from the east with the most valuable things that they had, which was gold, frankincense, myrrh. There could be a stock buns, whatever you want to think. The most valuable things that they had, but they were not enough for them. They needed something more in life. Their epiphany was a simple star. A star that they followed to the point that they got to King Herod, who was there another epiphany, believe it or not, even though he was a bad man, but he told them where to go. That was another epiphany that took him to another point, until they got to the manger. And what they saw was more than they expected. It was bigger than they expected. That's why they paid homage. That's why they bowed their heads. That's why they genuflected in front of the true wisdom, in front of the true knowledge that was human being. God that came in the form of a human being is more than anything that they imagined so far. The simple package, as I like to call it. Simple baby that came to your family, your children, your grandchildren, are more than any wisdom that we can imagine. Notice that when they come, I'm sure Mary and Joseph are happy to see them. What they do is, they take that baby and they place the baby in their hands. When we see a baby, what's our first reaction? 2 weeks ago, there was a 5-year-old baby in the church, and Father Marek was eager to go and grab the baby, hold the baby in his arms. There's something precious in the little baby that we want to hold it. And this is what happened. When Jesus was born, Mary and Joseph placed the baby in the hands of 3 wise men. That's what happened. A few days ago, Pope Francis issued a letter on the occasion of the 48th Day of Peace, International Day of Peace. He talks about slavery, he talks about lack of jobs, about trafficking, but I've read a letter and it's powerful. It's simple but very powerful. So if you don't have any New Year's resolutions yet, I recommend you to read it as one of your resolutions. But what he talks about in his letter, and I just picked few of his thoughts. He says, we are fulfilled as humans when we build relationships inspired by justice and love. We need to acknowledge in each other our dignity, freedom, and autonomy. And he says, we differ, we are different, but we share same origin, nature, and dignity. I believe 3 wise men came to the manger to acknowledge dignity of another person. Not just the person of Jesus, but to bow in front of the dignity of every human being, every human life. When we meet one another, when we build relationships, we look at the outside first. It's normal. We judge other people by their appearance. It's normal. We all do it. Well, what's important is to respect the dignity of that person, to respect what's hidden inside of the other person. Not what's outside, but what's inside. And it takes time. It's similar to what 3 wise men did. You have to lay down first what's most valuable in your life. You have to open your heart and give first in order to receive. And there is a risk, because you don't know what you're going to get back. But you know what you have. You know your gold, you know your myrrh, you know frankincense, you know who you are. And that's what you're doing. In front of the other person, you're laying this down and saying, this is who I am. Tell me who you are. We accept the other person the way he, she is. There's no more wisdom. There's nothing else beyond that. That simple fact that you bow in front of the other person's dignity and humanity. And I don't want to sound like I'm repeating somebody over and over, but I like to repeat what we often say here in this church. We welcome people from all of their stages of life. Rich and poor, black and white. Anything and anybody that comes here is welcome. It's because we believe that the church is universal. Universal doesn't mean that we have to go with the mission out there, that we have to go preach Christ, that we have to tell people what to do, how to live their lives. But what I mean by universal is people who come here represent the universe. You represent universe. You're bringing your most valuable gifts to us. You're laying them down and telling us who you are, truly who you are. And you are accepted the way you are. You're accepted for who you are. It's not about geographical church out there. It's about finding your own epiphany. Find that little sign, little star that takes you here. Takes you to this manger. To the place of simplicity, place of wisdom, place of knowledge, place of love, acceptance. This is what we're all looking for. We're all looking for our own manger. A place where we can be ourselves. A place where everybody can respect my dignity. Just like you accept me, Tom, standing here, with my sins, wrongdoings, my goofiness, sometimes my seriousness, just the way you accept my dignity. I imagine that I accept your dignity. I accept for who you are, for where you came from, what you represent, your wisdom, your knowledge, your age, your beauty, your troubles, your sicknesses, anything that is in your mind. We accept here in the church. This is the place. The church is the place. The church is the manger where all those things are accepted. So going back to New Year's resolutions, if you're looking for some suggestions, I have few, believe it or not. Develop new relationships based on true love, based on justice. Fix old relationships. And if you can fix them, leave them behind and move on. Accept people for who they are. Accept their opinions, their dignity, their humanity. And acknowledge people for who they are. Welcome them. Smile at them. Don't ignore them. Love them for who they are. Because I love you for who you are. Amen.